Hello everyone, Biazhu is the newest 5-star joining the Dendro roster, and many are already writing him off as not worth it, as after all, there are many Dendro units currently in the game, so players already have good Dendro characters. There's the Dendro Arca Nahida, who's just had a rerun, and of course there is the Dendro Traveler, who is free. Yet amidst this competition, I know Biazhu will be really strong and have a great place in the meta, however at a catch. I'll go into Biazhu's kit and explain why he will be strong while also going into some of his weaknesses to give you a fair review of him so you can decide whether he is a good pick for you. First off, just the fact that Biazhu is Dendro and from Leeway is already a sign that he'll be great, like, come on. But beyond this, the specifics of his kit guarantee his strength. Starting with his skill, it's a sort of Dendro attack that will follow enemies, and when reaching them, Biazhu's teammates will be healed. Then with his burst, Biazhu will summon a Dendro shield that periodically applies Dendro to enemies and heals teammates when it breaks, refreshes, or when its duration is complete. On top of this, some reactions, which most likely Dendro reactions, will receive a damage buff when the shield is active. Some of you may have realized that Biazhu's kit is very close to a character that we already have that many have forgotten about, that being Diona. Like her, Biazhu has that healer and shielder combo, of which is really good. This makes him essentially the ultimate support, as he basically does everything you'd want a support to do. And beyond this, akin to Diona's 200 EM increase, Biazhu will also buff reactions. Now judging his kit, Biazhu's abilities aren't really groundbreaking. His ability as a Dendro healer is already possible through Yao Yao, and for his passive Dendro application, other Dendro characters can already do this, the best being Nahida, who, just like Biazhu, grants a reaction damage bonus through her burst and 200 EM buff. So he isn't the most unique or groundbreaking character. Outside of his shield, he's really no different than the existing characters we already have. But see, that's the thing, the main focus of his strength revolves around his shield. His shield enables him to be a very strong character and almost a must pull because of the niche he fills, which is supporting and applying Dendro for a hypercarry who cannot be switched out for a certain time. One example of these types of characters is Cyno. See, Cyno has always been seen as an okay character, meta-wise. He's not bad, he's not great, he's essentially in the middle. But with the inclusion of Nahida, he's become quite a bit better. She enables aggravate or really any other strong Dendro reactions while giving him some good buffs. So Cyno is really good with Nahida, but on paper, because a big flaw of Nahida's kit is that she does not continuously apply Dendro on her own. She needs to cast her skill to apply Dendro. Now this isn't a problem for other hypercarries or main DPSs, as when you need to reapply Dendro to enemies, you can just switch to Nahida and do so. But for characters like Cyno, where when you switch out of them and they lose their burst, you really can't do this. You're essentially left in this scenario with two options, of which will commonly occur, where if there's a new wave of enemies and you're playing Cyno, for example, with Nahida, and Cyno's burst is active, you either fight those enemies with Cyno without them being affected by Dendro and deal low damage, or you apply Dendro with Nahida but lose Cyno's burst and still lose out on a lot of damage. None of these situations are ideal, but that's where Biazhu comes in. Since his shield automatically applies Dendro without any cast or switching that would interrupt Cyno's burst and limit your damage, you can just continue to play Cyno normally and effectively. So Biazhu solves this big headache and solves for this big problem that these hypercarries have, and allows them to be much more effective and enjoyable when you play them. Beyond this, Biazhu makes your team stronger and more efficient by solving another big problem that characters like Cyno face, which is interruption. Cyno and his burst will get interrupted when hit, so he needs some sort of shielder to prevent this, and he also needs a Dendro character to max his damage. Because of this, players will often use Zhongli or Xingqiu or even Beidou with Cyno and then an additional Dendro unit for reactions. Yet, Biazhu does all of this while just being one unit. With Biazhu, what you need from 2 units is done in 1, leaving you with an extra character slot which can have a big impact on your team. For example, you can include buffers like Bennett or an extra damage dealer like Yelan into your team to greatly buff your team's overall damage, or you can add a battery to your team so you don't have to worry about your energy, your rotations can be smooth and effective. This is not to say that the teams that Cyno or any other hypercarry are commonly played in are bad, or that Biazhu is a must for these characters. You can absolutely play without him, but with how strong Biazhu is in these teams and how he solves all of these big problems while giving these huge benefits that really can't occur without him, he makes these teams much better than they were, and is why in this particular scenario he really is insane. So for those of you that play Cyno, al-haitham, or any other of these hypercarries, I highly suggest you consider Biazhu. He brings benefits that strengthen and solidify these type of hypercarries in all combat scenarios, making them much better to use and allowing them to be at their max strength in all situations. Biazhu will also future-proof your account should there be any other units that have the same burst mechanic, which is very likely since this has been occurring since Inazuma. I'm sure he has other great benefits outside of the two I've mentioned, but currently this is what I would say is the best benefits that he brings to Genshin. Given this, what do you think about Biazhu? Do you think he's strong? Do you think my reasons for why he's strong are good? And are you going to be pulling for him? Please let me know this in the comments. With that, I'm going to end the video. Thank you for watching, take care, and thank you once again.